नमस्कार, हजुरहरूलाई अनलाइन क्लासमा स्वागत छ। My name is Madar Mandari from Viswajati. Today I am going to teach class 9 science unit 2 force and motion. Force and motion. Already discussed about in previous class equation of motion. Today I am going to discuss about the force. What is force? Force is external agent. Or force is external agent which change the position or rest to motion or motion to rest, change the shape and size is known as force, or the pulling and pushing factor. The pulling and pushing factor also known as the force. Its SI unit is Newton and CGS unit is dyne. Its SI unit is Newton and CGS unit is dyne. CGS unit is dyne. 1 Newton equal to 10 को power 5 dyne. 1 Newton equal to 10 को power 5 dyne. What is the relation between Newton and dyne? Newton is the SI unit of force and dyne is the CGS unit of force. Dyne is the CGS unit of force. Or prove that 1 Newton equal to 10 को power 5 dyne, or relation between, or show the relation between Newton and dyne. So the relation between Newton and dyne means we know that formula F equal to M. F means force, M means mass, A means acceleration. F equal to M. What is the SI unit of force? The SI unit of force is 1 Newton. What is the SI unit of mass? 1 kg. What is the SI unit of acceleration? 1 meter per second square. 1 Newton. Kg change into gram. Meter also change into cm. Change into CGS system. Change into CGS. SI system change into CGS system in right side. What the 1 kg equal to how many gram? 1 kg equal to 1000 gram. Kg change into gram. What is the CGS unit of length? Centimeter. Meter change into centimeter. 1 meter equal to how many cm? 100 cm. 100 cm. What is the CGS unit of time? Second. Not change right here. S square. 1 Newton, 1000 into 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gram cm per second square. 1 Newton. Right here scientific notation. Right 10. How many zero count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here 5 gram cm per second square. 1 Newton equal to 10 को power 5. We write here gram cm per second, right in dyne. So the relation is 1 Newton equal to 10 को power 5 dyne. 1 Newton equal to 10 को power 5 dyne. That is the relation between Newton and dyne. Newton and dyne. What are the effect of force? What are the effect of force? Effect of force. The effect of force are: force can change the shape and size of the body. Force can change shape and size of the body. Force can change the direction of the moving body. Force can change the direction of moving body. Force can change the state of rest and motion. State of rest and motion. Force can change the speed of the body. Force can change the speed of the body. That are the effect of force. That are the effect of force. Force can change the shape and size of the body. Number 2, force can change the state of rest and motion. Force can change the speed of the body. Force can change the direction of the moving body. That are the effect of force. That are the effect of force. What is rest? A body is said to be at rest. A body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to fixed point. With respect to fixed point called reference point in its surrounding. Is known as rest. A body is said to be at rest. A body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to fixed point called reference point in its surrounding is known as rest. The example of rest are building, stop vehicles. That are the example of rest that cannot change the position. With respect to their surrounding. What is motion? A body is said to be motion. A body is said to be at motion. If change its position with respect to fixed point called reference point in its surrounding is known as motion. Motion means change its position with respect to their surrounding. A body is said to be at motion. If it change its position with respect to fixed point called reference point is known as motion. Some example of motion are moving vehicle, moving bicycle, blowing air, that are the flowing river, that are the example of motion that can change the position with respect to their surrounding. What is the reference point? Reference point is a point or object on the basis of which we study the rest and motion. A reference point is a point. Reference point is a point or object on the basis of which we study rest and motion. Rest and motion is also known as the reference point. Rest and motion are called relative terms. Why? Rest and motion are called relative terms. Why? Because both of them are respect to each other and vice versa. So it is called the relative term. Both of them are respect to each other and vice versa. Both of them are related to each other. They are dependent to each other. They are related to each other, so it is called the relative term because both of them are respect to each other. Scalar quantities. What do you mean by scalar quantities? Those quantities which have only magnitude but not fixed direction. Is known as scalar quantities. Those quantities which have only magnitude but not fixed direction is known as scalar quantity. The example of scalar quantities are speed, distance. That is the example of scalar quantities. They have only magnitude but not fixed direction. Scalars are aided by the rules of simple algebra. Scalars are aided by the rules of simple algebra. Scalars are represented by symbol like mass. Scalars are represented by the simply by like the mass time t. Scalars are represented simply by like mass equal to time equal to 10. It is represented by their terms. And the sum of scalar is always positive. Vector quantities. What do you mean by vector quantities? Those quantities which have both magnitude and fixed direction. Is known as vector quantities. The example of vector quantities are velocity, displacement. That are the example of vector quantity. They have both magnitude and phase direction. Vectors are added by the rules of vector algebra. Vectors are added by the rules of vector algebra. Vectors are represented by a letter. Vectors are represented by the letter with an arrowhead. Vectors are represented by letter with an arrowhead like force F arrowhead and acceleration A arrowhead. That are the represented. Vectors are represented by the letter with an arrowhead. The sum of vectors may be positive, negative or 0. The sum of vectors may be positive, negative or 0. That are the vector quantities. Next, distance. What is distance? The actual length of the path traveled by the moving body. The actual length of the path traveled by a moving body, is known as distance. The actual length of the path traveled by a moving body is known as distance. Its SI unit is meter. It is denoted by S or D. When a bus moving with A to B and B to C and C to D, the total distance is equal to AB plus BC plus CD. That is the total displacement. That is the actual length path traveled by a moving body. What is displacement? The shortest distance between the initial point. And final point of moving body in a particular direction. Is known as displacement. The shortest distance between the initial point and final point of a moving body in a particular direction. Is known as displacement. It also denoted by S or D. Its SI unit also meter, but it is a vector quantity. Suppose the example of displacement is ABC. 3 kilometer, 4 kilometer or 5 kilometer. The distance moved by the bus. The distance moved by the bus equal to AB plus BC. AB means 3 plus 4, 7 kilometer. But the displacement of the bus equal to, by using Pythagoras theorem, that is perpendicular right angle triangle opposite hypotenuse, that is perpendicular, that is base. We write there AC equal to AB square plus BC square. We write AB means 3 square, BC means 4 square. We write here 9 plus 16, 25. We write here 5 kilometer. That is the displacement of the bus equal to 5 kilometer. Next, what is speed? The distance covered by the body per unit time. Is known as speed. Its SI unit is meter per second. It also called the scalar quantity. Speed equal to distance covered upon time taken. What is velocity? The displacement covered by a body per unit time is known as is known as velocity. The displacement covered by a body per unit time is known as velocity. Its SI unit is meter per second. Its SI unit is meter per second. It also called the vector quantity. What is uniform velocity? A body is said to have uniform velocity. Uniform velocity if it moves in a particular direction. If it moves in particular direction and covers equal distance in equal interval of time. Equal interval of time is known as uniform velocity. A body is said to have uniform velocity if it moves in particular direction and covers equal distance in equal interval of time is known as uniform velocity. Uniform velocity also called the constant velocity. Suppose A, B, C, D, 0 second, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. It means equal distance covering equal interval time means 4 meter, 4 meter, 4 meter, 4 meter. A to B, how many distance covered? 4 meter. How many time taken? 1 second. B to C, how many time taken? 2. How many covered? 4 meter. That is equal distance in equal interval of time is known as uniform velocity or constant velocity. Thank you today this much. हजुरहरुलाई अरु बाँकी रहेको मैले नेक्स्ट क्लासमा हजुरलाई कम्प्लिट गर्ने छु र यसको केही होमवर्कहरु मैले विश्वतिको वेबसाइटमा विश्वती क्लास 9 मा पोस्ट गर्नेछु र हजुरहरुले पनि यसको सल्भ गरेर पोस्ट गर्नु होला। हस्त धन्यवाद।